picked the wrong background. So while we're working, I'm going to be in studio mode trying to come up with a better one. Okay. Well then, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, we will have Roll20 and the map in the middle, and we will have video along the side and the top, and chat will be on the thing. good to go live. So almost like Cat resisted the last 30 minutes of plot. Okay. All right. So I will switch us over, activate the audio, and then we should be good to go. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
We're here.
It works. I'm so sorry that we had so many bizarre shenanigans for a minute. OBS hated me. The conspiracy acted against my PC. But we are actively here. Thank you so much again to Mike for running tech tonight, so we can actually get live this evening. Thank you again for joining us for yet another session of Speculate on this channel, Arvan Elron, because we are about to get into more Girl by Moonlight shenanigans in session 5 of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. Our Speculate special event on this channel. Because we're running just a little bit too late because of the conspiracy attempting to shut down our attempt to do cool things. I will spare us the usual rundown of house notes, but I will remind, of course, everyone that you can support Speculate and the cool stuff that we do here, including but not limited to ensuring that we can go live in a consistent manner on a regular basis in the future, by checking out !speculate in the chat, checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/speculate, and on Twitter, speculate at speculatesf, and our website speculatesf.com. Your support allows us to continue doing these cool things, including but not limited to play a game that Evil Hat has not even released yet. And thank you again to Evil Hat for sponsoring this series, because this game is really rad and we like doing the thing. But so we can do the thing, finally, I will ask all of these lovely people to please introduce yourselves to all the lovely people in chat by telling everyone who you are, what you do, and who you will be playing this evening, starting with Mike.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael R. Underwood, and I'm also running production today. So it's great. Everything is fine. We're learning on the job. I wrote this book. It's coming back out on Tuesday. I'm very excited. This was my debut. It's a book about a world where loving things is a superpower. It was not subtle. So I'm re-releasing all of those books. I'm one of the co-hosts of Speculate, along with Brandon and Greg, aka Arv. And in this game, I'm playing Vic Sains, the Guardian. He, him pronouns for me, they, them for Vic, except when things are bad.
Except when things are bad, duly noted, because things are going to get weird in a bit. But next, Valerie.
Hello, everyone. I am Valerie Valdes, she, her pronouns. I'm the author of Chilling Effect, Prime Deceptions, and the forthcoming Fault Tolerance, books that pair super well with Mike's. If you like geekomancy, you will probably like my books, and vice versa. I am playing Nina Lopez, the unlikely hero, and she is having a really bad day, friends.
Yes, it's been particularly tough. I'm sorry. Next, Yoi.
Hello, hello, Yoi Gawain Lin, he, they pronouns for me, gay man fiction writer, and tonight I shall be playing Vermilion Jingwei Ruth, the outsider, he, they pronouns for Ruth as well, although it is mostly he, because he looks like a he, and this world just functions that way.
Indeed. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, they, them, Clarion West 2017, writer and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist, and today, as always, I am playing Cat Holly, the Time Traveler.
Nice. Thank you. And as for me, I am our very frazzled GM, Brandon O'Brien, pronouns he, him, or they, them. I am very excited to do the thing. Now that we are running just a little bit late, we'll just get first into our recap. When last we left our Dream Knights in our last session of Fractal Spire, they had, as usual, a terrible day at work. School sucks, and is terrible to all of its children in ways that made our good friend Vic very upset. But Vic got an opportunity to at least help one young person find their way through exactly how much that sucks. Uh, Both Wonder Tech and Rapido are still very uncomfortable places to work, but we also discover that Cloud Harbor is a terrible place to drive, which is also very upsetting. Um, and of particular import is that Monsieur and Roses is unfortunately wrapped up in what seems to be a yet unestablished social media fracas that has yet to be essentially very effectively dealt with. Um, and while all of that is taking place, uh, our previous enemy, now mild, awkward anti-hero Dice Calandrine, passed through very briefly to share some key points of information with three of our four Dream Knights, while Cat is still at Somnio, receiving visions, present, briefly being gifted by the Oracular. Um, at which point in time, Dice not only alerts our Dream Knights that the conspiracy is very physically hostile and trusts a lot of people who Dice does not know with the responsibility to literally frighten people in their dreams into performing certain roles in society. But before Dice can give any more information, they're ambushed by two unknown assailants who break into Monsieur, attempt to and fail to defeat Ruth in hand-to-hand combat, perform some weird magic that cannot be qualified, and then disappear. And we enter the scene just as the camera that pans out of the broken window of Monsieur and Roses lingers outside of the cafe for a very brief moment in time as we get to witness the street lamp outside that is flickering uncontrollably, the shattered glass, and the very vague semblance of its shattered pieces lying on the pavement outside the cafe that we can still acknowledge is making the same peculiar repeating fractal eye symbol that we have seen so many times before. Um, and then the camera starts slowly panning back inside the building. And as it does, we actually begin to see those pieces of glass slowly start spinning back up into the air and reforming into larger pieces until it just kind of falls back solid into the window as if it had never broken at all. And as we continue back into Monsieur, we see Ruth still fighting these two masked, suited assailants inside the cafe. But it looks very weird and off. It's still very obvious that Ruth is winning this fight, but it's less obvious that it's a fight anymore. You're seeing limbs moving, but it doesn't seem like anything's connecting with anything. It seems actually like the reverse of a fight is taking place in this moment. We see we see individuals who were previously running out of the cafe slowly settling back down as they sit into their seats, as if nothing particularly shocking or alarming is happening right beside them. And as all of this happens, the camera continues to move throughout the cafe until it escapes through one of the side doors, one of the staff backup entrances to Monsieur Roses, and rushes down several streets until we get to a bathroom mirror in Somnio, where Kat is presently holding a card from the deck of reveries that just appeared to her. When you are looking at this card, there's a thought that emerges, like, on your lips about, like, the very upsetting and troublesome reading of this card in your hand. What are the words that you say when you are looking at this card?
This better not fucking awaken anything in me.
As you say that, you notice every time that you've ever held a physical card from this deck before, it is typically a black back with some gold, mildly iridescent inlay. You've seen what these cards look like when dream magic is attempting to affect it in the real world. Sometimes those things look different. Sometimes it's not seeing any inlay at all, just seeing like these transparent lines that allow you to glance all the way through the card. Sometimes the iridescence is so strong that it looks like you're holding a piece of paper that literally has lines of rainbow light cast through it. Sometimes it feels harder or softer or warmer or colder to the touch. Each time is different, but each time is an indication that a thing is about to happen, and that the card has decided that it's happening and not you. What is happening to this card at this moment when you're holding it?
Its texture has gone weird. The first thing Kat notices is how the physical texture is changing. The card does not feel solid in the way that the card should. It's starting to turn into something that feels like she is holding cotton candy, almost. When you've had cotton candy in your hand for too long, and it is melting and leaving that residue over your fingers.
You notice as a result that it feels almost like warmly sticky as well. And you notice on the tips of your fingers, like something that looks like black ink but looks very, very thick, almost like plasmid, is lingering on the tips of your fingers. And when you look at that, that's when you realize, wait a minute, didn't I do this already? It occurs to you very briefly as a result. You have another card here. Where is it?
It is blue tacked to the inside of the lid of the toilet tank.
Okay. You notice in the bathroom mirror that even though the toilet tanks in this bathroom are brand new porcelain, a beam of pink light is shooting through it as if it were glass from the exact place where you have left this card.
At least it's pink light and not pink mold, so let's open it up and get this card out. Since
Okay.
apparently the deck is demanding that we deal with it.
Okay. You open the tank. The place where this card is supposed to be, the card is now entirely transparent. You can still see the shape of it. You can still see that something is drawn and written on it. But you can't read it because it's just pure, like, glassy, capturing light at this point. It seems like it's
Is it
reflecting
still
this.
physically tangible?
It's still physically tangible. It
Great,
seems
let's
like
just get
it
that
is...
off the blue tack right now because I don't want to risk, like, the blue tack also getting all weird. I don't want to bring more in from home. It's a pain.
You pick up the card. You notice as you're holding it that it seems like it is reflecting or capturing light from a place that is not this bathroom. You have no idea how to make sense of that fact. But by the time that you attempt to make sense of that fact, something just suddenly feels off about your surroundings.
Is this mayhap because I am only half in my surroundings, let's say?
Yeah, pretty much. Your eyes glance just outside of the frame of these two cards now, and you realize the tiles that you are standing on right now aren't the tiles of the bathroom stall at Somnio. You recognize them, but at the moment, you're just like, why? Where am I? And then you look up, and Ruth is fighting two men in suits right in front of you. And it takes you a while for you to realize you're in Monsieur Roses at this moment. How did you get here?
Fucking dream magic.
Yeah? It occurs to you all of a sudden that the cards just decided, you know where you need to be? Here, where things have already happened. Before things keep happening again. Before you see Ruth almost single-handedly fighting two masked men in suits. Vic is also engaged, but is more dramatically focused in this moment with ensuring that nothing happens to the other person who is also present, who you recognize very vaguely somebody who has done work for you at Somnio previously. Um, all of them are incredibly focused on the fact that this fight is happening. Um, and there is somewhere to your left hand side, somewhere in this room, there is a plume of colored smoke that is like still like that is slowly pumping through this room. Um, and it looks to you very weirdly like it is not smoke, but as if it is the same kind of light that is coming from the second card that you just picked up.
Where in MNR am I standing?
You are standing um somewhere like just a couple feet away from one of the non-plate glass walls of Monsieur. Um your back is against the wall. Uh there is a table and two chairs to your like to your left and just a little bit behind you. Um and you are facing everybody else. Ruth and Vic, you kind of don't notice it at some point. It's not like someone just appeared. There's no like poof moment where someone is in the room. You just weren't looking, and then when you were looking, you realize Cat's here.
Not only is Kat here, Kat is still in her work clothes and doesn't have her purse with her.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
What? Hey, Yoi. Do we
Hey,
have
yo.
tablecloths in this place?
No, we do not. And even if we did, Ruth would have put them away already because we were closing.
Hmm. How close am I to the biggest flower vase in here?
Okay, so
And I'm
There's-
very sorry for what I'm about to do, but it's better than what just happened to your window, so.
well, I mean, they've already broken through the window at this point.
Yes, but we undid
At this
that.
point, things need to keep breaking.
Yeah, but we did unbreak it, but they would have already jumped back through the window, so the hole is
Yes.
back there. So,
Mhm.
there are really nice little flute vases on each of the tables, but I imagine
Is there a nice big motherfucker on display?
if you went to the cache, yes. That's
Yeah.
the one that Ruth glares over all the time.
Mhm.
You would recognize it and you would know it immediately.
There is like a large. It's the vase itself is almost as big as your head, and it has like 6 long stem roses in it, and like lots of water.
Perfect.
could-
So, Kat grabs it, dumps it out, sorry, Ruth, and puts it over the smoke bomb the way you do when you trap a wasp under a glass. So instead of hotboxing the entire cafe with Dream Vapor, we are just hotboxing the inside of this vase for now. Someone is going to have to get me a piece of cardboard to slide under this. Again, like we're dealing with a wasp.
Just to clarify, has Vic already kicked the smoke bomb at this point and
Nope.
thereby hit one of the people in the head?
Nope. This is when the smoke bomb was first thrown. It is now just lying unattended on the floor for the most part. So that means that Cat is the first person to approach it. So now it is covered with this vase. Cat, before you even start seeing anything happen to it, you just kind of realize something's gonna happen to this vase, isn't it? And that's when you start like seeing it starts changing texture, it starts changing shape. So it briefly turns into an apple crate, and then someone's upturned shoe turns into a Dixie cup. It turns into like an upside down full size bathtub. That's gonna keep happening for like a handful of seconds while you attend to the fact that
Brandon, no!
No, Brandon!
On the plus side, now the rest of us are unfrozen when Brandon's frozen. On the minus side, Brandon is still frozen.
this fight as normal.
Sorry,
Okay.
Brandon, a point of clarification. Everything the vase is turning into is still a container which is holding in this smoke and preventing it from hotboxing the place.
Yes, everything is still successfully holding it. Yes,
That was all I wanted.
nice. Ruth, you're still successfully holding your own in this fight.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Because this is time shenanigans, does it register to the non-time travelers in here that there is time shenanigans, or does Kat's appearance make perfect sense
Actually-
in their brains because of the time magic?
Yeah, I also want people to know whether or not everyone around me perceives that I just rewound them.
Vic doesn't need to roll to learn this, but I think Ruth does. How many dots does Ruth have in perceive?
Ruth has 1 in perceive.
Okay. I would like you to roll perceive. Your position
I'm still
is-
fighting, huh?
Yeah, you're still fighting.
Nah.
God, your position
Ooh.
is your position is risky.
Okay.
And your effect is limited.
Rolling 1d6.
You're gonna get an assist.
I didn't write that properly. Hang on. Oh,
And-
you're going to assist me.
Yeah, because Kat has taken care of the gas, and suddenly we have numbers.
So now Vic doesn't need to worry about kicking that aside
Yeah, so
and has some bandwidth to help you.
instead is going to slide over one of the cleared tables and try to start flanking the masked people to give Ruth an assist.
And assist
Aha.
to perceive the fact that Kat has rewound time.
No, on the fight. I thought you were fighting.
Oh no, I'm rolling
While-
perceive.
But
While the
perceive-
fight is
wait.
happening, we are rolling perceive.
I think this is a valid assist because this means that Ruth can be less focused on the fight and more focused on what the fuck just happened
you know
here.
what?
I mean,
Yeah.
Let it ride.
It depends.
Take the
It depends
assist.
on if Vic would want Ruth to know that time has happened, because right now Vic is the only one who does know. that
I
he
will
had to
say
do
that
those
this
things.
is an assist regardless of the fact that Vic isn't even processing what they're attempting to assist you with. So you're just
Okay.
gonna so your effect is now elevated from limited to standard.
Okay.
And
One
for those
D-
of you at home, when Kat filled her playbook track at the end of the last session, the ability I took was Saw It Coming. You can expend your special armor to resist any consequence relating to surprise or misfortune, to be in 2 places at once, or perform some similar feat of time manipulation.
So I'm
Given
assuming
that
right
we-
now it's
Yes, and given that we have just retconned, the last half hour of our last session, this is a broken ability that I am going to take great joy in deploying.
Yeah, definitely.
so that is a 3.
A 3. Okay. Vic knows this because Vic knows this. You have seen Kat do time shenanigans before. So it just strikes you as time shenanigans. You don't know exactly how it works, but you imagine at some point, Kat engaged with time magic in order to be present. So the only thing that occurs to you at that point is, finally someone can help you all in this fight. Ruth, You're too taken aback by the fight to notice. It occurs to you that maybe um, at some point Cat just decided to pass through and you just didn't notice because you were fighting. Um, so yeah. While all of this is happening, one of the two assailants locks eyes with you, Cat. They don't move, they're still fighting Ruth. But they're looking intently at you as if they are not being burdened by physical engagement in another direction.
What is the nearest thing to hand that isn't the vase I've just appropriated?
There are at least 3 wooden chairs within arm's reach.
Kat picks up a chair and holds it so that the legs are pointing away from her, and she charges this guy. This is not a skill he has any dots in whatsoever, whatever you determine this skill to be, because Kat is not a physical fighter.
Yeah.
But Kat's angry.
So to be sure, how many dots do you have in Defy in particular?
Oh, none.
Cool, give me, we'll roll 2d6. Your position is desperate, your effect is limited.
Oh, I'm getting some of that sweet desperate XP.
You are. You rolled a 4 and a 1.
The 1. And I am marking my desperate XP now.
Oh no.
No, this is great. This means that I'll be able to work on and getting these skills later.
So you pick up the chair and charge this guy, and he very suddenly, almost as if not human, diverts all of his physical momentum away from Ruth and grabs the 2 back legs of this chair. And he is holding this chair as if you are not moving toward him. He is a fully immovable object. And then he just takes, with each of these legs in his hands, he just pulls away from each side, and the chair literally splits in half as if it were a piece of paper he were tearing in half. And he just takes those chairs away from you and throws them behind him. Then diverts all of his attention yet again to Ruth. The other guy, however, who's fighting Vic, sees all of that happening. You can't really tell anything because of the mask, but Vic, you get the impression that he responded in some fashion to this news. And actually is attempting to move away from you all of a sudden.
Well, it's a good thing that I said that I was moving to flank. Which should mean I'm blocking this person's exit.
Okay, please give me a defy roll. Your position is risky, and your effect is standard.
Okay, I'm just gonna double check my things real quick. Okay. Let's hope that I can do things in Roll20 and it won't break the stream.
I have faith in you.
Everyone just gets to see that I'm still learning how to use this new keyboard. Oh, that's a 2.
No.
Aha! You move to flank in order to get in this person's way. And you notice, and it feels very weird to you all of a sudden, and you're not sure if you just, in the heat of the moment, not truly experiencing everything that's happening, or not. But it feels less like he has gotten away from you. It feels less like he has slipped to the side of.
No.
Conspiracy's working overtime today.
Back as well.
We missed everything you just said.
Oh no. What is happening tonight? Oh my god, the internet.
You froze.
The internet is conspiring against me, everyone. But yes. Vic, you also notice at this point in time, that, as this person is seemingly passing through you instead of passing around you, that he's grabbed the collar of, the other assailant, the suit collar of the other assailant, and is dragging, him back towards the window. And then you hear both of them mutter something. It doesn't sound like any language that you've ever heard before. And then they flip back out through the window, and by the time that you see them fade back into the
Oh no, another freeze.
oh my god, internet, what's happening? Okay, my internet is actually doing an entire thing. I am very sorry, everyone. It seems. So yes, can everyone see me now?
See in here.
Oh my god, hello?
Yes, hello?
Brandon?
Brandon, are you okay?
Ugh.
Can you sign my tentacle?
Oh lord. My internet connection is.
Oh.
I love that the frame Brandon is frozen on is as he is just demanding that the gods explain why they have chosen to torment him in this way.
Yeah.
You come to me on the day of my live stream when my friends have gathered and you stop my internet.
We lost him again.
We lost him again.
Really is
I
deeply
am
unfair.
I am so confused.
It's
Oh,
okay. We are going to just have Rudy cut all of that in post. Thank you, Rudy. We love you.
We love you, Rudy. I guess while Brandon is further indisposed, I will turn the lights on because it's getting dark.
Oh god. I don't
You know, chat says the audio is good. Brandon, do you think it'll help things if we just pull your video and have you on audio?
All right, 1 second while I redo the videos. Please proceed.
So yes, these two assailants have now backflipped back out the broken window, and have immediately disappeared.
So I guess my question is, in the first iteration of this fight, Ruth got kicked in the face. Did Ruth get kicked in the face this time?
Less times, and not as hard as the last time.
Okay, but I did get kicked in the face.
I mean, you got some.
Uh-oh.
You just didn't get the last kick in the face this time. But yes.
Okay.
You have been able to essentially focus on both of these assailants the entire time. They have not done any like overwhelming damage to you whatsoever.
Okay. In that case, when the fight stills, he kind of reels around on his feet, takes in Vic, Cat, Dice, and then Nina dramatically screeching up from the street, arriving because, in his mind, like Cat, she got the note from Vic saying, hey, I'm gonna go bother Ruth. If I don't text in X and X amount of time, come here. And he looks at Vic and he goes, this is your fault.
Wow.
Could be, but we probably need to go anyway.
Okay.
I don't think it's safe to leave the smoke bomb here for whoever's opening tomorrow.
By the
Hey,
way, that's
everybody,
still...
what's going on? Why is the window broken?
Ruth gestures everybody out the front door. It's locked because he had locked up, but he gestures everybody out the front. Vic will have to unlock it and says, I'll deal with it. Go.
Is the window broken? I'm really tired.
Yeah, a lot of things are happening.
So I'll just get back in the van. Everything's okay.
Oh, careful with the boxes back there. Do I have boxes? Did I deliver them already? Oh my god, what day is it?
Before, I guess Dice leaves last out of the group because Vic is leading the crew out. And then before Dice gets to the door, Ruth goes, not you. You're staying inside by the front of the door until I'm done. Then I will walk you to the fucking truck.
Dice smirks at you, but otherwise does not move.
Ruth will take that. So I am cleaning the chair, I'm cleaning the glass, I'm boarding up the window, I'm wiping up the water, I'm putting the face back where it's supposed to be. I'm texting my bosses about everything that happened. And also, just to clarify from last session, when I started work, I would have asked them what went on with the police person taking them away. So could I just have that information, assuming I would have gotten it at the beginning of my shift?
As in, you asked the owners themselves?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they...
I'm fine with them deflecting because God knows Ruth just says stuff whenever they ask him, how did you break your face open again?
when you message them, they hesitate to reply for like a solid 3/4 of a minute, and then you get a text from Kenneth saying, "Don't worry about it, it's fine." You know that that's not fine, but you also get the impression they're not going to tell you much more about it.
Okay, so they said, don't worry about it, that's fine regarding the police stuff. And then regarding this text that I just sent them about how some people broke a window and caused a fight on the floor and made a mess. I boarded up, blah, blah, blah. What do they respond?
Several people are typing.
Oh, I can't see that because I'm on a brick phone.
Right, you...
Yes?
Like, no, like, it seems like no response whatsoever. Then you get, like, 8 or 9 text messages that seem to appear all at once. Your phone's
Oh,
like literally like humming in your hand.
great.
Um, and then
I'm not hearing any of
All
that.
those freezes happen at the most dramatic moments.
Yep. Sorry, Rudy. We love you. Everybody in the chat, please take this moment to
oh you
subscribe to the Patreon because your money will help pay Rudy to stitch this all together.
subscribe to
And
the
Rudy
Patreon and
deserves
you
a raise.
subscribe to
Yep.
the Patreon so I can cast my bedroom in ice so my PC doesn't overheat so we don't have these problems. Um,
But yes, I missed everything that you would have said about the text. Oh, did is that a silence?
in your hand with several text messages, and then your
Mhm.
phone starts ringing.
Uh, from my bosses, I presume.
Yes.
Ruth puts the mop handle aside, sees that Dice is standing there, and like walks nominally a couple steps away, but like keeps an eye on him in case he's a bad guy, and like dashes out the door to like beat up his not friends, and picks up Ruth.
What did you say just happened? This is Kenneth on the phone.
Ruth searches for patience because he wrote it down. Surely you can reread a text if it confuses you the first time you read it. But he says, 2 people broke a window and broke in and caused a fight and made a mess. I've boarded everything up. It's cleaned. Just letting you know.
Be sure that like with all of that in mind, you're still fine.
I missed the first half of what Kenneth said because
Oh
you froze.
my god, the
Dramatic cutoff.
mostly concerned with you more so than the building.
Ruth feels something in his chest that is not bad exactly. Um, and it's weird. He doesn't think he's felt that feeling since he was a small child. And he says, I'm fine.
Um, you hear him sigh, and then he goes, um, it's fine. You don't need to.
I don't need to.
Around. It's you don't need to hang around for a building. It's fine. They didn't take anything. Your safety is more important than that. You can head home now.
All right. Um, I'll be in for my regular shift.
Na's voice in the background, but you have no idea what she's saying. She sounds very upset. Um, and then before Kenneth hangs up, um,
Dang, these internet outages are getting really bad. You're muted, Iori.
Dreamshine is at it today.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Um, this is not ideal, everyone. Um,
Mike suggested doing intermission now, so maybe you can reset your computer. Um,
I think that would be ideal.
Make sure to make one of us the host of the Zoom call.
And chat, please remember that a break for us is a break for you. Go tend to yourselves, get another drink, get some more popcorn. We will be back.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Yes. Thank you so very much for your patience, and we will be back very, very soon.
We are good. get out of this scene pretty quickly if possible. Like having the text back and forth definitely makes sense. Get out of the scene and then let time kind of like have downtime happen over a couple of days so that it's easier to just hop in and out of quick montage downtime scenes so that we can at least try to get through downtime even if we don't get into the mission, because I think we lost enough time on technical that it would be difficult to get into the mission and definitely to get it done. Sometimes technology kicks your ass for no good reason. The universal you. I would say, as a fellow co-host, that there is no way to avoid 100% of production problems. My goodness, that is... I read that, but just thinking about how many, that's like hundreds of people's worth of work for how many weeks? That's so many person hours. Understandably, yeah. Oof. Yikes. So, Brandon, an idea only if you are very sure that it is not a strain on your computer thing. Run an Audacity backup for Rudy. But that puts more strain on your computer, and if there's a chance that it's that, then maybe that's self-defeating. It's just a thing that came to mind, and I want to provide it as an option. It's your judgment, because you know your system better than I do. Yeah, we can absolutely do a speculate, like kick the tires stream troubleshooting session sometime. Yeah, I would suggest jumping back to maybe the beginning of the text back and forth, just to get clean audio throughout, if that's okay with both of you. Oh, well, if it's not viable, it's not viable.
And welcome back. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening and for your patience. It would appear that the conspiracy acting against our dream knights has been more physical than we imagined. Um, uh, but as far as I can see now, our technical issues have been resolved. So we're just gonna get back into tonight's session of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. Um, just as a recap, to we will just skip back just a little bit earlier to um, uh, Ruth receiving several text messages from the one of the owners of Monsieur Roses, after letting them know that there had been an incident earlier. At which point Ruth's phone starts ringing.
Yep. And Ruth had answered it, walked away from Dice a little, to have some notion of privacy while still keeping an eye on the person. And the person on the other end of the phone had been Kenneth, who is one of the owners.
Yeah. Who, as a result, asked what happened and whether you were okay.
And
Which you
Ruth
confirmed.
Yep, Ruth had summarized the same situation as had been given in the text. Had felt a feeling in his chest that wasn't painful, and said that he was fine.
Indeed. But Kenneth does assure you that you don't need to continue staying to clean up, that you can head back home, and he and Edna will come back to work early in the next morning and hopefully talk to the police and sort something out. But in the midst of that conversation, you can get a sense in the background that Edna and Kenneth are whispering about the fact that they do not think that the police will be very helpful. But by the time that you realize that that conversation is happening, they've already hung up on you. And now it's just the four of you and Dice again, in the vicinity of this place. What are your plans now?
Well, Ruth immediately is just going to make sure the messes are localized, so at least all the glass is in one spot, and all of the chair debris is in one spot, and all that kind of thing. I'm assuming the other three are already in the truck. He kicks Dice out rather than shows them out. But before they actually get into the truck, he basically tells Dice, like, just on this side of I'm extremely tired, do not test me, to not do anything funny. And then they all go into the truck.
Okay. Dice does not reply. You still get the impression that he is smirking at you, but you don't look to see. So who's driving and where are you going?
I think Vic is driving, and are we gonna still go to the kebab place? Okay.
This
Definitely.
is driving Nina's truck?
Nina is
Dan?
freaking out about this. Nina is in the front passenger seat, muttering to herself the entire time about liability and insurance and praying that they do not get pulled over. Because if they do, Nina is going to climb into Vic's lap and shove them into the passenger seat.
Oh god.
Get a couple of winks if you can, so that we can talk.
Nina is staring fixedly at the front windshield.
Have you eaten?
What?
Did you have dinner?
Dinner. I had 2 energy drinks and a protein bar. And 2 energy drinks.
Ruth,
I said that.
Do you have snacks on you, possibly?
Dice in the back of the truck is
she
like,
checks her shirt
I
for
eat
stuff.
terribly, and even I know that's not food.
Who? What?
Ruth
Who's
snaps
back
at him.
there?
Ruth snaps at him, shut the fuck up, and then pulls 2 black sesame croissants out of the front of his work apron and gives them to Nina.
Oh, Ruth. Do you know you're my favorite? Kat's my best friend, but you're my favorite.
How dark is it inside this truck?
I imagine quite dark.
You don't see him blush. The end.
Favorite too, Vic. You're all my favorite. But this is food.
Food. And you all continue out of this part of town as you head towards a section of one of your regular hangout spots in this area that you typically don't go to very often. Just lower down the street from most of the bars and other street food stands that you typically check out is a place called Crossroads Kebab.
Because they're made of meat.
Yeah, their tagline is in fact they're made of meat. Their tagline is they're made of meat because someone once actively challenged them on the fact that they actually sell real flesh, and they thought that they needed to prove it, and that this would be sufficient proof. Mind you, it is actually it's good, safe, real meat, but they picked the worst possible way to remind people of that fact. But yeah, this place is typically open until 11:30 or later. They're the 2 20 something chefs there are just a little bit away from being totally terrible representatives of their brand. They're not very pleasant to talk to, but at least every once in a while they don't talk, and that means that you never have to deal with them. So you can just order your food and never have to think about them again. So if you wanted kebabs, if you wanted falafel, if you wanted gyro, you can get all of those things there. Their drink selection is kind of bad. You can get homemade pure orange juice or one kind of beer, and that's it. But other than that, this is a good place if you just wanted to get something solid in you before going out to drink, etc. And people don't regularly frequent it because why do you go to a kebab place with the tagline, they're made of meat? So you all go there, hang out, relax for a little bit. Dice is shoving entire meatballs of beef into his face. And for a brief moment, you are all no longer surrounded by all of the drama that has just previously taken place. And we briefly fade from that point into downtime things. So I'm going to say, for the sake of smooth downtime, that this is all taking place sometime after all of the events that have just taken place. That at any point in time from the morning afterward and beyond, you can all probably establish what downtime actions you need to take, including but not limited to if you take any moments to interact with each other and share an intimate moment. So I will start then with Kat. What's the first thing that you would like to do after some time has passed since all of this mess?
I think Kat is going to text Ruth to ask what he did with that smoke bomb.
I was still thinking about the kebabs because my immediate response was I ate it. But Brandon, just to clarify, Kat put the vase over the smoke bomb. Vase did a lot of shape changing, then the people vanished, and I'm assuming that, much like the first time it happened, the smoke bomb underneath the vase also vanished. So when Ruth gingerly cracked up the bottom end of the vase, there wasn't anything under there?
This time, however, there is an empty canister. So the smoke bomb did have time to deploy fully and like fully empty. So you can have you at this point in this timeline have evidence that the thing did in fact happen and is still there.
Okay.
And obviously have no recollection of that ever not being the case because you were never in a universe where it wasn't the case.
Okay. In that case, what Ruth will text Kat is that he looked under the vase. The vase contained like a smoke bomb canister that was empty, and because Vic has experience with these kinds of things, they gave it to Vic to take apart or try to track or something of the sort, because Vic is a revolutionary in their other secret life.
Okay, well, like, just as long as we didn't leave it for someone else to clean up.
Okay.
Yeah. Ruth's emotional response is, "Are you kidding me?" Because they do know how to handle things, thank you. But over text, he just types, because it's Cat, correct. Capital C, period.
Oh no, a period.
Oh, he types very grammatically correctly because he uses a brick phone, is not in with the kids.
It is not an indicator of tone. It is just a period.
Yeah. Barely understands what emojis are. But yes.
In that case, Kat would have to text Vic to ask after the investigation of the husk of this smoke bomb. Because it was behaving like a dream thing.
Yeah. So I'm happy to hand over the investigate the smoke bomb action to Kat, if that's something you want to pursue.
I will say, Hand of God, that both Vic and Kat have things that they can learn from this smoke bomb. But once you learn one thing, you'll have to wait to learn the other.
In that case, I think I'm going to leave it for Vic, because the things Kat could learn from it are metaphysical woo-woo things, most likely.
Yes, lots of dream things to be gleaned.
I have other things I can learn dream shit from.
Exactly.
So let's let Vic deal with the physical threat.
Okay. Vic, would you like to do that now? And then we can turn back to everyone else?
Sure thing. I want to take this smoke bomb to one of my other contacts in the anti-authoritarian revolutionary group that Vic is a part of, and basically try to call in a favor with that person to have them do some kind of forensic analysis. Like, okay, compared to what the cops use, what, this corporation's securities use, what is this? And so I'm going to roll express as a kind of convince a person to do a thing.
Okay. Um, Before we get into the qualities of that express role, tell me more about this contact.
Yeah, so maybe this is where we bring in love,
Aha.
because Vic doesn't know that love is potentially a suspect. Um, Vic just knows love as somebody who kind of does stuff in this revolutionary group. So I'm going to go to the notion, and because it's been a little while since I looked at this character, so love is a uh, by day does graphic design, but I think is also like very interested in like medium and materials, and so that is why he's also able to do some like uh, analysis in this kind of a position, because he is an AR graffiti artist, which is how he got looped in with the revolution.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And Love is like a mid-30s cis man. In our world, he'd be Latino.
Mm-hmm. So right. Give me your express roll. I already know to play out how the rest of the scene goes, but the quality of information needs to be determined. So your position is desperate,
Okay,
and you're.
even as a downtime action.
All right. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. In fact, mm, a part of me reads the way that this is portrayed a certain way that belies a certain kind of difficulty, but as GM, I'm gonna say, nah, we're just gonna do a fortune roll.
Okay.
So how many dots do you have in Express?
I have
Just
2 in Express.
Right, so please roll 2d6 for me.
Okay, that's a 5 and a 1. So on a 4-5 for investigate, I would add 3 ticks to the track.
Right, yes. Um, this is a 4-tick clock.
Investigation is its own track.
All right, yes. Again, so many things have been happening tonight that I'm very dazed. But yes, right, cool. Um, so, very briefly, a scene for you to learn a thing about this smoke bomb. Um, Love sends you a message asking you to meet at Crow's bookstore in a half an hour. This is like maybe like 10, 11 a.m. on this day. Um, you know that this bookstore is the bookstore where you typically have your um, underground meetings. You know that it's very risky for you or your fellow revolutionaries to gather there in the day during work hours, because the owners of this place are quite old. They can't afford to get a lot of heat attached to them in the middle of the day, and it would be particularly sticky to have certain kinds of engagements that early as a result. So you know that if Love has asked you to meet, it's probably kinda serious.
Yeah, I think Vic would suggest, hey, to keep it to keep the to keep OPSEC up. Oh, do you want to meet out front and then walk down to get some coffee? Basically subtly saying, do we want to kind of drop back to a secondary location?
Um, Love messages back. Um, we can do what we need to do in the bookshelves. I'll be as brief as possible, but I need to show you some things.
Vic has not had a sufficient conversation about OPSEC with Love. But yeah, they'll go.
Um, love is unique. They're perfectly aware of certain um standard operating procedure, but are very fond of performing spycraft. You get the impression that this is just something Love saw in a movie and thinks this is how spies actually engage. Um, when you get to Crow's bookstore, you see um, Love in like a white button-up shirt and khakis, um, standing up next to the romance shelf of the bookstore and reading Slaughterhouse-Five, which is from a bookshelf that is several shelves away from this location, um, and seems very obviously conspicuous. Um, but yeah, he just has it in front of his face.
So
Like,
Vic walks down uh, the aisle that would put one shelf between the two of them, and
mhm.
just kind of stops a couple of feet short of Love, and starts scanning the shelves, and says, "All right, what you got?"
um, Love doesn't look up from the book. The shelf that you're looking at this point um, is self help. Um, and Love goes, "Good, you're in the right place. Open Rich Dad Poor Dad."
And they do.
Um, you see several close up photographs um, of the of a cross section of the inside of this smoke grenade, and you notice that it has certain embossings on it.
Oh yeah.
And while you are looking at it, at things that you recognize as um, old, like pre-rebranding Dreamshine technology insignia,
Interesting.
embossed into the steel of this canister.
When
Uh,
when was that brand refresh?
that brand, like the logo that you're seeing right now, hasn't been used for over 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so it's not even a recent brand refresh, really.
Yeah.
That's so. This is, huh? This
Um.
looks like a little bit of an older edition. I don't remember if there's been one since then. Uh, does yours have a forward?
Um. Love goes. I'm typically not fond of collections like those, but interestingly enough, in an older introduction, I heard that these aren't produced by local companies, that they just have a partnership with some, um, which I thought was particularly interesting. I figured there would be something that you'd be into. Um, Also, I think you've stumbled upon a rare copy, in fact. Obviously, the author doesn't get involved in those kinds of things, right?
Well,
Um,
limited.
you know this as a hint that previous conversations you've had with other fellows have come up to the edge of a conspiracy that Dreamshine actually trades in arms,
Hmm.
but have never been able to prove it because Rustam Demir is actually squeaky clean in terms of um, over the counter business dealings. So this may be the first time you have ever stumbled upon evidence that Dreamshine perhaps directly engages in any kind of arms manufacturing or sale.
So Vic says, "Oh, that's very interesting. I'll have to bring that up next time. Next time we're at book club."
Yeah, I think it would be a very fascinating read. Unfortunately, um, a couple of the usual crew wouldn't be able to make it this weekend. Turns out that this was a very difficult copy to get a hold of. You know that to mean somebody probably is either laying low or has been arrested, finding out more information about this kind of stuff.
Well, that's a shame. Please pass on my best wishes, and of course, if anybody needs help with errands or anything, they should just let me know.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm sure they'll be with us very soon. A couple of us are making sure that they feel better as soon as they can. And that's when Love shifts the book just a little bit away from his face so he can wink at you. Um, and then he goes, I found some other like interesting stuff written in the margins of that one as well. I wanted to know if you could tell me any more about that special ink that we found inside.
It seems to have some like mixed media qualities. Like I think some other company was experimenting with like augmented reality, like interactive fiction.
There is a pause, and then Love moves the book away from his face again and goes, "Okay, I have no idea what that means now."
No, it's what I said. They're You heard about the eye, right?
Yeah, goes back to reading.
I think it's not the only way that they're trying to get at people in different angles.
If you're about to tell me some chemtrails bullshit, I'm gonna leave.
No, but I think we should be taking, and kind of Vic like straightens and picks up another book. I think we should be taking this printer very seriously. Um, the publishing agreements that they have, the distribution that they're doing, it's really making some waves.
Okay. Well, I'll keep my eye out if I find any more interesting copies from that printer then. Until then, and they hand you like $80 in fives, and go, that copy's on me. And then they close their book and they leave.
So I will buy the book that was recommended uh, to strengthen the cover and head out, and then in the most secure fashion that Vic can, relay that information to the rest of the group. This was made by Dreamshine several years ago. We had suspected that they were involved in arms manufacturing previously. This is probably the strongest evidence so far. And then to the Dream Knights, I didn't get anything more about like how it does the dream stuff. And then that's all for me for downtime.
Okay, cool. Um, at which point then I will return to Cat. What downtime action would you like to pursue at this point in time?
Let's see.
You have both two of your actions.
Yes, I see that. I think we are going to have to wait. Brandon, the cards got weird, but do I still have them?
Oh no, yeah, you still have them.
Okay.
In fact, this is the point at which we should ask a question about the second card. Did we ever qualify what that second card was? The card that you had stored?
The second one, yes, I believe we did, and it is in these notes here somewhere. I know you told me what it was.
Let me remind myself.
We have used the word card 45 times in this document.
Yeah, is it?
Sorry, stream.
As Yoi said, is it just the fractured eye from episode 1?
Uh, uh,
Oh, the
Focused
business card and the dreaming cards, the reverie cards are different.
mhm.
The focused eye. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So, right. That is the thing that I wanted to make sure of. Thank you for reminding me. Right. So, you have 2 cards in your possession at this moment. You have the focused eye, which is presently in its normal base state. You have another card that you had previously. So much previously that it has been stored there since before the events of the series. But you looking at it now, you realize it doesn't look like any other card that you have previously received, and that's when it dawned on you. Is the deck doing a thing again? Did I just get a new card? You still can't make out what it is though. It still looks entirely translucent at this point in time. It feels like a card this time. It doesn't feel like cotton candy. But
Oh, thank goodness.
right now it seems like it is. You can still make out that it is a card from the deck of Reveries, but it looks like it is producing light from somewhere within it that makes it absolutely difficult to tell any distinguishing features about it. It looks like it's just capturing light from somewhere internally and just blasting it back at you like a prism. You know that you can focus and find out, but it will take a lot of dream effort that you are not in the mood to deal with at the moment.
I mean, no, I am not in the mood to deal with it, but I only have 1 dot in analyze. But if I keep putting this off, it's probably going to bite us in the long run. So even though this is going to suck, and even though I'm going to be super tired afterwards and desperately in need of a meal, we're going to do the thing. Although, before we do the thing, Kat actually just opens up the little delivery app on her phone and she gets some takeaway and she schedules the delivery time for 3 hours from now. In 3 hours, a pizza will arrive to save her. Because she knows that when she is done with this, she is going to be too tired to try to, solve the problem of food on her own. This is her gift to future Kat. Time travel.
Okay.
It works both ways.
Which is a
If
thing.
you think about it, we are always time traveling. I just get a couple more directions than everyone else.
This is an acknowledgement that only you have ever made, but it is a useful acknowledgement to have made. Right, so I would like you to give me a perceive, analyze, or express roll.
Which of those do I have dots in? Let's go with analyze. A thing in which I have dots.
Okay. Your position is desperate, and your effect is standard.
Rolling 1d6. That is a 5, and I am now marking my desperate XP.
Nice.
Although, Brandon, I will admit, being told to roll desperate for the act of looking at a card is definitely setting off some mental alarm bells.
I mean, yeah, you're engaging with a physical manifestation of dream magic. If this were to go poorly, it would go poorly in a way that would have real world effects that you would never be able to describe to your neighbors. But cool. So you.
Oh, I don't like that laugh.
You Stare at this card for a good long period of time. Until like, you know when you look at a thing for so long that the thing that you are looking at stops having meaning or form and just kind of becomes like an abstract construct in your brain. And then you just kind of have to blink and look at it again for you to realize that it was a thing. This, like, you are staring at this for so long, it just kind of turns into a piece of glass in your hand, and then you come to very briefly, and then you realize that you're holding an ordinary card from the deck of Reveries this time. Black face, gold inlay, but it seems even more foil than before this time. And just a little bit heavier. A part of you even feels in this moment like this card has suddenly decided that its gold inlay is actual warm gold. And you are holding a card that reads abduction. The image of the card is literally a moonlit street where a man is being held at both arms by two other men, all of their faces obscured by the night. Abduction very often means exactly what it says it means. It's about being removed from the position that you want to be in and being placed in an unhealthy or dangerous position by others. Very often, whenever this card comes up, it is exactly what it says on the tin. A thing is about to happen. You look at the card just a little bit longer, though, and you start realizing that this otherwise outlined gold drawing on this card is slowly starting to gain color. And that's when you notice that even though you still can't see anyone's face and it's still night and their backs are still turned to you, you are noticing things that you recognize about the figure in the middle of what is now becoming a photograph. You also notice that that figure is not male. She's wearing clothes that you have seen someone wear before. And then you glance at it again, and you realize, wait, no. This figure is not the figure in the center. It's all of the figures. All of them are this exact same woman wearing the exact same clothes.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
There's not a lot to like, to be clear.
But I can't tell who the woman is.
Give me a 1-die fortune roll.
Oh dear. 2.
It's on the tip of your tongue. You feel like you saw someone wear this clothes. You feel like you saw someone wear these clothes just a couple of days ago. Might have been someone who dropped food off for you. Might be something that you recall from one of the dreams that you previously had. Could even be someone from Somnio. You don't know. You do know, and for that additional context, however, you briefly pause to realize it's not the outfit that someone wore while working. It was probably it could have been something that someone came in for work, or a client's outfit, or somebody that you saw on the street on the way there. Yeah, doesn't particularly solidify in your brain at that moment.
Okay, does it still count as part of the same action if I flip the cards over to examine the backs?
Yeah, I would just give you that.
Okay. I am going to actually just let myself go full magic eye postcard mode on them.
Um, you turn over the card, and it is pure black this time. I think that does, like most things that happen with these cards, I think that does not usually happen. At least sometimes the card gives you something, but this time it gives you absolutely nothing. And as you focus just a little bit more on it, you feel as if you are seeing not a pure black face of a card, but as if you are peering into a dark room. And as you walk, as you continue staring, you feel as if you are, even though you are still perfectly still, as if you are walking slowly into this room, waiting for your eyes to acclimate to this dark so you can make something out in it. And you start to make something out. You start to make out the figure of someone. Someone else that you recognize. You can tell that they're not the same person. This person is much bigger, much more buff, has hair that you vaguely recognize, that seems like very intensely colored. Um, and as you start looking more closely, you realize you're looking at Euphony, and they're saying something to you, but you're not making it out. And as you walk closer, you can hear Euphony murmuring to you. Um, and then, as you start getting close enough that you can see the colors change in Euphony's hair, and you can make out all of the details of their face, you can hear Euphony say, just softly enough that you can hear it absolutely legibly, "You work in a dangerous place, do you know that?" And then you immediately snap out of it. And when you look at the card again, you're seeing the normal you're seeing the normal back of the deck of Reveries.
Kat goes and like kind of curls up in her armchair with a glass of water and waits for her pizza. 'Cause to hell with all of this. Oh my god.
Yeah. Your pizza is on its way. Um, Elsewhere in Port Harbor, a man is burdened with dozens of pizza deliveries all at once. Um, and is like mildly like shocked by the fact that like he's been given specifically of the myriad orders that he now has to deliver in the four corners of Cloud Harbor, that this one was made 3 hours ago. How does someone know that they're specifically gonna be hungry at 4 p.m.? All right, um, cool. Um,
Also, Kat will text Nina and say, I ordered the pizza if you want to come over.
ooh, so that means that we cut to Nina then.
Nina excitedly gets text and immediately goes over. Nina loves pizza and
good.
cat.
So now you are both over at Kat's apartment. What would you like to do?
Time for a downtime action. Social link. Da-na-na-na. And so we are gonna do the thing that is the best thing in life. We are gonna take off our bras and we are gonna watch a really cool martial arts movie. And eat pizza.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Aha. God, I literally saw this wonderful gif that I now imagine is this movie. I can't remember the name of the movie anymore, but the scene is literally
It's one
a
of those
police
movies.
officer.
Oh, good.
A police officer tears a slit in her office uniform so she can essentially kick a thief until he becomes unconscious. It was the best scene in my that I've ever seen all week. So I imagine that's the movie that you're watching.
Yes, exactly that kind of movie where it's like just some lady who gets pushed to the edge and then has to just kick her way through life. It's the Citadel DLC opening where it's like, oh no, somebody's attacking her and she falls through the glass roof of a sushi restaurant and then she has to just fight her way through 100 bad guys in high heels and a dress.
Yeah, pretty much. How does, given the work experiences that you have both had recently, how does this feel? What specific catharsis are you getting in this moment watching this?
I mean, we just saw a guy take a stiletto right up the nose, and there's something just deeply, viscerally satisfying about that.
Yeah, I feel like this is either an empathize or express role in which we either highly empathize with the heroine in terms of wanting to kick a lot of people in the face, or we are expressing our frustration at not being able to kick a lot of people in the face.
I would say on a creative level, deeply connecting to someone else's performance is an act of expression. So I think that's the role.
Okay, and is this something that Kat enjoys doing? And if so, I get a bonus
Oh,
die.
deeply.
All right, here we go. And roll 2d6. I forgot how to label them, so sorry. Boop. That's a 6 and a 2.
Nice. So if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 links.
Yep, 3 links. Yep.
I'm trying.
And
Is it 3
pizza.
or 4?
No, it's 3. 4? It said. Oh, I'm sorry. The document I have says 3. Is that one of the things that changed?
I remember
okay.
that. I remember that things have increased. So right, it should be 4. And if I'm not mistaken, that means that Cat now gets to decide how to divide those.
Half and half. And I will also note that because Kat has been through this timeline, something that is just lurking in the back of her mind that she is not voicing yet, as she watches this action star just put a stiletto up a guy's nose, is, wonder if Ruth could teach me how to do that. Because Kat is technically in possession of the knowledge of Ruth's fighting.
Yeah. It is theoretically possible. I'm gonna keep the thought that I just had for later. In fact, I'm sorry that I said that aloud. But while all of that is happening, since you have all just shared that intimate moment, and I love that this intimate moment had just the interaction of the movie itself. We will cut very briefly to Ruth. Do you still have a downtime action?
I have both.
Nice. What would you like to do?
Well, the first thing I'd like to do is, at some point, to text Vic. And it just says, we need to talk. Capital W, period.
The response is when and where.
See, this is why Ruth isn't disgusted with Vic.
Things just happen all the time.
Yep. Let's see. Would Ruth and Vic have established a place where they meet up? Because season 1, they didn't really mesh at all. Like, Ruth was basically the fifth wheel to the entire group, just like standing in the background like Moses in The Prince of Egypt when the plagues are going on, and every time Ramses looks over, he's just there. That was Ruth in season 1.
Would Ruth suggest one of the like roadside shrines that he made?
Uh, no, because those would be pretty temporary. Because they are basically roadkill. But I think if anything, Ruth would suggest Monsieur Roses just because they both know where it is.
Sure. Yeah.
It's easy to get to, that kind of thing.
That works for me.
Yep. Okay, so Ruth sends a time and a day when Vic can get there and Ruth is not on shift. Yeah, and when Vic arrives, has Vic's favorite lavender latte waiting for them.
Yep. When in doing world building, we figured out what the characters, Monsieur Rose's drink and food orders were.
Yeah. At which point we also learned that Monsieur has an astounding menu. But yes.
It really does. So yeah, we like grab a corner booth or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they sit down, and Ruth is squared up the way he is usually squared up when talking to anybody. But the moment Vic sits down and they've exchanged pleasantries, Ruth says, "I need to say thank you."
You're welcome for whatever it was. I'm curious what it was.
What Ruth says next is going to depend on how Kat and Dice first reacted when they both realized the other person was in the same space.
Does that mean it's flashback o'clock?
It is flashback o'clock, not rewind o'clock. Don't get excited now, you.
Oh god. Okay.
Oh dear, I think, yeah, we're going to have to be very, very clear about the difference between flashback and rewind in the future, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's my job to tell the difference. All you'll have to do is use words, but yes. So yes, we flash back to back at Monsieur surrounding the fight, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like later when we were all talking with each other, because everybody else would be fine. Ruth would not be fine. Ruth would be basically an emotional shutdown, just not speaking pretty much through whatever discussion we decide to flash back through. But Ruth basically isn't saying anything for the entire time, and the entire time is just laser focused on Dice. Like, he is just waiting for him to give him a reason.
Mm-hmm. So you are at Crossroads Kebab then. You are staring daggers at Dice. Dice isn't saying anything, but is still being annoying. Because he's actually smirking at you the entire time while like shoveling meat into his face. You can't tell if he's pleased by food or pleased by the fact that you are staring at him.
Ruth doesn't care right now. Ruth is just filled with a lot of very bad emotions.
I will also say, just as an idle piece of information, because you have your eyes on Dice the entire time, you can't miss this. Which is, every once in a while, it does seem like he does like break eye contact to look away from all of you, and you're the only person who can pick up as a result that you get the sneaking suspicion that he is worried that you are all still being observed or followed.
What is Dice wearing today?
Don't hurt me, Brandon.
Oh god. Um, Dice is not showing off today. It's just like um a very old t-shirt and very new jeans. Um, he just looks like he was out running an errand. Yeah, it is neither particularly flashy nor particularly odd. It's just clothes. In a lot of ways, that's the weird thing for you, Ruth. That even when he is out, he did not decide to wear like um something to obviously draw people's attention to him. He tends to like wear like unnecessarily expensive fashion designed specifically to show off exactly how well built he is. But now it's just a shirt and jeans.
And in the dream, he was also wearing the weird military uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he changed through a lot of outfits too.
That did in fact happen, yes.
Such a showboat. And since Kat is still in her work clothes and so forth, he's noticed by now?
There is this brief moment while like food is still like falling into his like unclosed mouth, where he like briefly turns to you, um, kind of totally nonchalantly, just says, by the way, Charlotte, I didn't know you hung out with these people, and is like picking meat out of his teeth with a toothpick. How do you know, Ruth?
Kat is so tempted in this moment to say that Ruth is her favorite customer. But she knows that if she does, Ruth will just spontaneously combust.
Yeah, he would.
And it would be worth it if Ruth hadn't already been having such a bad night.
There's a bruise forming along his jaw on the side of his face that hasn't been sliced up.
So Kat just says, "These people are my favorite people. I can't believe you know them."
You say that like I can't be cool. I can be cool. I'm surprised that someone as cool as you hangs out with. He glances at Ruth and then glances away. Anyway,
Okay, first of all, how dare you? He decorated my apartment for me.
In the middle of putting like 3 falafels at once into his mouth, he turns to Ruth and goes, "Really?"
Well, all my plants. Remember when I showed you it was the photo of that trellis? The new trellis that I was using to do the climbing roses on the veranda? Ruth built that.
Well, it looks really cool. That's really dope, Ruth. That's really cool. I didn't know you did that kind of stuff. That's kind of neat.
And hopefully Ruth is now, oh, nothing. Okay, he's not following me everywhere then.
Ruth is like
if Dice was really tailing Ruth, Dice would know these things.
Ruth is only slightly mollified.
Oh god.
But now he is increasingly disturbed in other ways.
And then Kat like gestures with her fork at Dice and goes, "This look works for you. You know, I feel like I see you in suits basically all the time. Because you're basically always working.
I mean, suits are nice. You know? I mean, I like doing a professional thing because it means I get to look good, but sometimes I just want to be out of the house and whatever.
So, is that why you were hooked up with those weird toy soldiers? Because you like the aesthetic? We're going there.
Oh.
There is this moment that Dice like looks at you with like this kind of weird kind of worry on his face and then goes, "Ah, right. There were 4 of you. That's how you got right.
Kat,
right."
like, gathers her hair back and holds it up into a bun for a second and goes, "Does this help?"
Ah, as I was telling your friends, I'm sorry about that.
You should be. You really, really should be.
Like puts the food down, like actually pushes the food away from him. Goes, I'd be lying if I said that the person in the dream wasn't me. It had to be. It's a part of me that I liked, but if I knew that it was doing any of the things that I've just found out that it does, I wouldn't have. And I'm sorry that it had to involve you all. I know that doesn't help anything, and I'll understand if that means that you won't call me for work or stuff anymore, because that dream was a lot, but yeah, I'm sorry that that happened. I'm sorry that I did that to you. And that entire time, Ruth, you noticed that Dice is like glancing between Cat and you, as if still trying to get some modicum of approval from you as well.
He's not gonna get it.
Yeah, he knows, but he's still trying.
Okay, so I think at this point, the thank you then would entail Vic briefly holding Ruth back from being really, really mean in the first conversation, and also probably the 2 times. So, one, when Dice did this, Ruth would have stood up and gone to stand outside. And then the second time would have been when they parted. Ruth would have exchanged words with Dice that were not very nice and very, very barbed, and very indicative of the relationship between them and their history. And I think at least one of those times Vic would have gone out to be like, "Hey Ruth, you're kind of flying off the handle again. Maybe don't do that. We can hear you." So flashing back to Monsieur Roses, Ruth would say as if he's crowbarring out rusty nails from a really, really, really messed up piece of wood, that he's saying thank you because he needed to hear what Vic had to say. And Dice is from a very specific part of their life. And when they saw Dice out of that specific part of their life, they shut down. And that is in part why, when we were in the dream and Calendrin was on stage, that Deed had to step in and take the initiative because Ruth couldn't do anything. And so, on top of saying thank you, he wants to apologize for putting Deed in that position. And you in that position. The implication from the way Ruth says "and you" in that position indicates that even though they haven't spoken that much, that Ruth has definitely picked up on the fact that Vic is not on the best terms with Deed in terms of ideological intensity and purity and where those things necessarily go.
Deed is like a storm the barricades kind of revolutionary, and Vic is like a more the make uplifting and agitprop memes and like exchange veiled messages in bookstore stacks kind of revolutionary. So that's it gets a little tricky. And so like Vic is kind of nodding through everything that Ruth says. And says, "Turns out I know dice from another part of my life too." He
You don't you've never seen Ruth turn this color before, but for a brief moment he looks physically jaundiced because all the blood has gone out of his face.
his all that cocksure energy is really handy in a crisis. He went a little bit far one time
One time.
with me on a thing we were doing, and so I started looking into it, and that's how I was able to get there that time at Monsieur Roses when the mask faces showed up. Right now he's our best lead, and so we need to. This is bigger than all of us, right? It's bigger than any one of our own anything, like my baggage, anybody's baggage, and so we can't untangle and heal everything all at once. And I know that we haven't always gotten on the best terms, but if pushing back in situations like that is what you want, I will keep doing it for sure, because I think it's what needs to happen, and it will be good for all of us eventually. You don't have to be wound up so tight every single moment. We're here for you too.
I'm not wound up.
So now would you like to roll for sharing an intimate moment, Ruth?
Well,
Yes.
I'm sure sharing in the moment, so take that bonus.
Okay, what would you consider this role to be, Brandon?
I think that this roll is an express roll.
Express role. Okay.
Also, you have a series ability that may be useful here in particular.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
It is if your social link activity includes sharing your secrets or inner pains, clear 2 stress and your ally marks 1 stress. They ask you 1 question from their gather info list. Oh no.
Of course, this is worthy of negotiation because obviously, if Vic doesn't want to or feel value in learning a thing, then we can forego the thing entirely. But, um, do you all think that this applies here?
I think so. It's not necessarily a secret because Ruth is not revealing anything that hasn't already happened or been overheard. But it's definitely an inner pain. Because now Vic knows that something bad has happened between Ruth and Dice, to the point that when Ruth sees Dice not expecting them, they lock up, not able to do anything.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I have a question in mind. Do you want to do your roll first?
Yes. So that is, I did get, I'm an idiot. I get a +1d, and I have the 1 dice in Express, so that is rolling 2d6. That's a 2 and a 6.
So that's 4 social links, which means that Vic gets to determine how those are split.
I think Vic will do 2 and 2. And the question that I have for Ruth is, how can I help Ruth?
Are you asking me that out loud?
Gather information in this way is very much a kind of the character's intuition.
Yeah, like
So you are allowed to answer this question out of character, but this
Okay.
is just a realization that Vic is having about how they can be most helpful to you in moments like this.
yeah, I feel like in this kind of situation, especially the gather info questions feel like they operate like the read a person, read a situation moves in Apocalypse World, where we do step out of character, if that works.
Yep. So your question is, how can Vic help Ruth? I think Vic's revolutionary feelings reach out into the squiggly space between them, and Vic intuits with their tragic genius heart that how they could help is to get Dice to actually apologize.
You're muted. No.
You're muted. Or
Why does it stay muted when I press the button to make it unmuted? So yeah, like we have that exchange, and I think the last thing that Vic leaves Ruth with is the conspiracy is tricking everybody in every way that it can, and we're all kind of flying without a map here. So I think it's going to be easier for us to forgive people who got wrapped up in things without knowing that they were hurting people if we give each other some slack. And I'm going to try to talk to Dice and make sure that he offers a proper apology to everybody for what he's done, knowing that every person we can pull out of the conspiracy's grasp and re-enmesh in a community that can support them is another arrow in the quiver that we're going to use against that fucking conspiracy before it breaks the world. How's that sound?
sounds like deed.
We don't always disagree. Dee doesn't care about the people as much as I do.
Ruth inhales and sighs heavily and just slides a packet of lovingly packaged lavender and sea salt macarons, which are not on the menu whatsoever. So this meant he stress baked them at some point in the night, over to Vic.
Wait,
And
as in Monsieur doesn't make macarons, it doesn't make this flavor.
doesn't make this flavor.
Okay, cool.
And says Callendron didn't need the conspiracy to be the way he is. And scene!
Nice.
Very good.
Thank you. Nina, do you still have a downtime action?
You have two.
Yes, you still have both. It is now your turn to do
Because I
the
get
thing.
3 as an unlikely hero.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na. Okay, so I think that potentially, based on the scene that just happened, maybe Vic wants to reach out to Nina, who was not present for the conversation that just occurred.
Yeah, I think Vic gets in touch with Dice either through Ruth or through having like previously investigated them, and basically talks Dice through what Vic's view of kind of the super compromised version of reparative justice that's available to us in this dystopia, in terms of you have to directly face and acknowledge and accept responsibility for the pain that you have caused on the terms of the people that you've hurt, and know that their guidance and their leadership is going to give you the best shot at truly making amends for having hurt people, especially if you've done it. Like, malice has to be handled more sharply. The way that Dice got themselves mixed up in all of this is understandable, but it doesn't eliminate the hurt. And so what I think you should do is to reach out to Ruth and ask, hey, Ruth, I would like to formally apologize to you and to Nina, and I want to do that on terms that will make both of you comfortable. And
You're telling Dice this, and he's literally taking notes in a stenopad, because this is a process that he has never deliberately engaged with in his entire days.
and then, like,
Is Dice canny enough to realize that? Of course, Vic thinks that Ruth wants an apology just for the dream stuff. They don't realize that Ruth wants an apology for other stuff too. So would Dice realize this or nah?
We'll have to learn that whenever you meet Dice again, I guess.
Oh yeah.
That was me actually clearing my throat.
That was not an ominous GM throat clear.
Oh my god. But yes, you have that conversation with Dice. Dice seems kind of incredulous about the entire thing, but is deliberately very engaged with the idea of figuring out how to do this correctly. So yeah.
All right, so then if Nina hears from Dice about this, Nina's immediate response is to text Ruth and say, Ruth, please, I can't do this alone. Will you come help me? And so at this point, this is going to be a share an intimate moment in which Ruth can either agree to do the thing or set boundaries and potentially just refuse.
Is this... Does Nina say, Ruth, you need to help me, I can't do this, meaning this as in Dice wants to apologize to me?
I think
I'm not ready for that.
I think that what Nina would say is Dice wants to meet with me to apologize. I don't want to go alone. Would you please come with me?
There's no way Ruth is letting her go alone. But Ruth is going to text Kat, because Kat is Nina's best friend, right? And Ruth is very mindful of boundaries and keeping Kat in the loop. So Ruth says, time and day, I'm there. And then texts Kat with hello, capital H, period. Nina. Calendrin wants to talk to Nina. She is frightened. I am going as backup. If I get arrested, I'm sure my bosses will like you as a replacement. And and then goes to the meeting.
Kat texts back, keep her safe, heart emoji, heart emoji. But because Ruth's phone is a brick, he doesn't get the emojis, he just gets the little box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Square.
Ruth is like, my friends really love boxes for some reason, so whenever he makes them cookies, he always makes them square cookies.
Okay, noted.
The macarons are round though, sorry. guy.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you can't help that with a macaron. Um, so, um, where do you all meet? I feel like it's only fair that Dice insists that the meeting place should be determined by you all, so you all feel like you have a place where it is relatively safe for you and not being controlled by him.
Yes, Nina would definitely want to meet somewhere that is like an open space kind of thing, like possibly somewhere that is waterfront. She actually has like a special place that she goes to when she's very stressed out that's waterfront, but she would not take them there because she does not want that place polluted with this situation. But she would want to potentially go to somewhere similar, or the portion of the park that is not like the creepy bad park. It's just been somewhere that is kind of like open like that, in public, but far enough away from other people that potentially no one would overhear them talking.
Mhm.
Okay. As they're deciding the location, Ruth is updating Kat with this the entire time. And then when they finally settle on one, it's like, capital A, period. There is water here. It's deep.
Oh my god. Okay.
Does
Kat
Dice
texts
know how
back,
to swim?
That's incriminating.
It is deep, though.
Just observing that water is deep is not a crime.
Or is it in Cloud Harbor?
In context, when they find Dice's body in said water, those text messages
The
will be
river will
entered
bring
into
it somewhere
evidence.
else. It's fine. And if they find it, it's obviously somewhere shallow. So it's not like they're gonna put it together.
Oh god. Oh my god, let's get to this. Oh lord. Right.
Right.
So you get to this quaint Italian restaurant just north of the waterfront. Not your favorite place. Not a place you typically frequent, so you kind of picked it because you're never gonna come. It has already been sullied. You're never gonna come back here again. Dice shows up in um uh powder blue jacket, powder blue shirt, red tie, uh white trousers. Um he is carrying a lilac gift wrapped box in his hand. Um and he shows up. Both of you are already here. Um, you get the impression that, in fact, no. Ruth, give me a one die fortune roll.
Yes, sir. One die fortune roll. Well, 1d6. That is a 3.
3. Okay. You get the impression that he is very, very nervous about this engagement. You get the impression that that nervousness is guided by some kind of behavior, but you can't really tell what. Um, um, he sees you both sitting outside. There are not this place is very weirdly designed such that most of its seats are outdoor seating only because there is not enough space inside for the kitchen to not drown people with smoke, so they just decided to make this large awning instead. So the indoors is just a kitchen and one like maitre d at the door. Um so uh Dice comes to the table where you're both sitting, stands very awkwardly at the side of it and goes, thanks for coming to talk to me. I wasn't also expecting Ruth to be here. Um, yeah, So let me just. He puts the box down. Takes out a handkerchief, wipes his very sweaty forehead, puts it away. Um, I know that this is not ideal. I know that there are dozens of reasons why you wouldn't want to speak to me right now, but I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to tell you to your face that I wronged you and you have every reason to not want, as a result, to continue engaging with me. I am sorry that you were put in this position. I am sorry that I was the one who was responsible for harming you in this way. Dreams are a specific kind of trauma, and it hadn't occurred to me what I was visiting upon the people that I hurt until you all spoke to me. And I know that you don't owe me anything as a result, and I'm just trying to fix this because I know that you all have the power to stop this from happening. But before you all can do anything, I owe you an apology. So I'm here to let you know that I am determined to do whatever I can in my own power to work against this, and that I can't ever do anything about the pain that I caused you, but I can make sure that no one else experiences that ever again from the dozens of other enforcers that they have in play as much as I can. And I wanted you to know that. And he just kind of shuffles there awkwardly for a little bit, and then like glances out of the corner of his eye to Ruth and goes, "Can I talk to you privately, please?"
Ruth sets his jaw and says, I am here for Nina. I am not here for you. And
Okay.
then looks to Nina and says, Nina, are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. I have to roll forgive to find out if I'm genuinely okay, though, because that's
Yes, you should.
Yes, this is our first instance of forgive being used in the game, I believe.
Yes. And so either what Nina just said was actually a lie in which she was trying to cover up her true emotions, or she does actually feel better after hearing all of that. And so this is technically a social link action with Ruth, an intimacy. And so Ruth can either like assist, I guess technically. It's do you share this moment or set boundaries? So if you share it with me, I get an extra die roll.
I think by virtue of being here, it's sharing the moment, because if he had uncharacteristically just abandoned you to deal with Calendrin by yourself, then that is definitely setting a boundary.
Yeah. So then additionally, I do get another plus 1d when rolling a social link, which I forgot to do last time, because that is part of the Unlikely Hero playset. Yes, as long as I am still only mortal, I do get plus 1d. So I get to roll 3d for this particular activity. So here we go. There's a 5, a 4, and a 3.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, a 5 means that you have 3 social links. Which now Ruth gets to determine how it's split.
I know it's in the game's best interest if Ruth keeps some of them, but Ruth is the very caretaker and gives Nina all of them.
Oh no!
Wow.
I wish
Okay.
I could decline that, but as I cannot.
You cannot. And in any case, Ruth wouldn't let you.
All right, and so then at that point, so yes, Nina's like, yeah, thank you. I think we're gonna be okay.
But Nina, because Nina is carrying so many social links, Ruth can't stop her from spending those links on him during the mission.
Don't remind me right now.
Oh,
Brilliant.
okay. And then as a follow up, then Nina will say, do you want to talk to him alone, or do you want to go?
Ruth looks at Dice and says, "You done?"
Um, um, talking to Nina, yeah.
Right. Looks to Nina, let's go.
Nina looks at the box on the table and is like, is that for me, or?
Um, sorry. Just, some notes that I kept around about some of the folks that I spoke to. Um, if you wanted to look at those at some point, yeah. It's not a lot, but I figured it would be useful.
I'm sorry, my cat has murdered a cupcake wrapper.
Cat,
I'll take it away from her presently.
you are not upsetting us.
And
Let-
so yes,
let the cat
I will
enjoy itself.
I will take the box and I will say, I hope this helps us. Thank you.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'll go then. Stands
should.
there awkwardly for a beat and a half, and then starts walking away.
Ruth updates Kat immediately. Kat gets the sense of somebody who has latched onto the role of chaperone with extremely unhealthy zeal because it lets them ignore their own feelings about something. And Ruth also mentions the notes for everybody to go through together at some point. So
Nina will also text Kat with no context. He gave me a box of stuff.
Kat texts Ruth back with, "I'm so proud of you for not killing him. Heart emoji, heart emoji."
Good.
And
Ruth
her
guesses
text
this
to
means-
Nina is just like, "Is it good stuff?"
It's notes.
Okay.
I don't know. Sweat smile.
So what I'd like to do, because Vic no longer has any, is that we do an investigation on the notes, to see if that leads us to another suspect.
That will take the third, my third downtime action. So I will say, anyone who wants to come with, let's go meet somewhere, like Monsieur Roses, or somebody's house, or a safe house that we all agree to meet at sometimes for reasons.
I feel like we need to find more places to meet that aren't Monsieur Roses, because I do feel a little bit responsible for that smoke bomb going through their window.
There's this movie theater that got closed down and we go hide in the projection booth. It smells a little funny, but that's okay because Ruth has lots of candles.
So I will say there is an abundance of places all over most of Northwest Cloud Harbor that you are actually very familiar with. many of those places you haven't gone to in quite some time because they're places that were introduced to you as meeting places for Dream Night shenanigans by Euphony. And all of them have feelings.
I mean, we will just go and we will do the thing, I guess. And then we can potentially receive the notes outcomes next time, maybe, to lead into whatever's going on, or unless you want to do it now. But I can roll for that.
There are snippets that can be revealed at the moment, yes. So I'll say it like very awkwardly. Like there is a bar that Euphony liked to go to precisely because there is one booth that was reserved for them by one of the owners because they just liked Euphony like that and let Euphony just hang out there. And since Euphony's passing, it has been reserved for you all in an act of respect for them. So you meet there and decide you're gonna go over the thing. At which point, your investigate roll should be, I think, give me analyze.
Nina,
Guess
if
how
you,
many dice I have in that? It's
Zero.
none.
None? Okay, this
Uh,
is gonna be delightful.
Ruth has 1 dot in analyze, so Ruth can use the action here to investigate the notes.
Aha. Yeah, that works for me either way. So yeah, give me a 1 die fortune roll.
That's a 6.
Wow. Investigate is doing a lot of work this season.
Woohoo!
So the contents of this box are 13 handwritten small moleskin notebooks in which Dice essentially journaled some parts of his experience in the dream. It starts out with the tone of a lucid dreaming journal. That the implication is essentially he thought that he was given this like weird semi-cultish opportunity to be physically observant in dreams and was merely documenting what that experience would be like in the presence of other dreamers, and started realizing no, he had been given a goal to perform and that this goal was actually giving him some modicum of purpose as a result. At which point he notes that early in the process, the people that he met face to face were not in forces. They were just like he describes essentially being introduced at a restaurant to a colleague of someone who had just retired from cage fighting, who kind of sold him up on this idea of what he describes in the journal as what if you got all of the emotional fulfillment of joining a religious community without ever actually having to pray or believe in a god? He was like, this sounds silly. I want to find out how silly this is. And that's how he started getting involved in this like weird lucid dreaming process and discovered that it was actually kind of emotionally enlightening for him. And then the purpose of continuing the enforcement of this process's rules were actually very purposeful for him. But whenever he got commissions to actually meet someone in their dream, those conversations were conversations that he didn't have with anyone face to face. He either received letters in the mail, often in often left in the mail for places other than his home, where no one should know him by name, um, or received text messages from an unknown number. Um, but whenever those things happened, it almost uh, confirmed that if he were to go to sleep that night, he would end up in that person's dream anyway. He just knows that that is the place where he has a responsibility to do the thing. And then started learning more forcefully how to manipulate the dream, how to find access into other people's dreamscapes, even and especially when he does not know who they are, how to be, uh, how to maintain deliberate awareness of the dreamscape beyond waking, etc. But all of these specifics about all of those operations are way further down in those notes, because he doesn't figure out exactly how those processes are until he starts experimenting over and over. But the thing that you do learn definitively as a result is that he has spoken to dozens of people who are fundamentally um, under the effect of the conspiracy, who are not as uh, who are implied to be not as powerful or in the know as another enforcer would, and therefore he doesn't have much more information than the notes that he's taken.
Okay, so Ruth basically speed reads all of that, going off that great old cramming ability from nursing school. You just gotta stuff in all the information as quickly as possible, even though it's about dice, and he hates that. And basically arranges to pass that information through to the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm. Ah, right. Because you got a 6. Let me actually qualify as well. A great deal of those initial notes also name several of those people by name, because when this started out, it was just a journal. He becomes more cagey around book 6, and you haven't gotten much further than book 7. But in the earlies, he has no problem just naming people that he's met in this weird culty thing. Um, and you have a handful of those names. Diana Middleton, um, Colin Stevens, Janet Clark, a handful of other scribbles of things. Um, you pass this information off to everybody. Um, Vic, of the names that I have mentioned, you know one of those names.
Colin Stevens is a student, right?
No, that's not the name that I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah? Well, that I don't know.
Yeah, you do. You know someone named Clark, don't you? Janet Clark.
Let me go to our suspects list. Oh, yes. Janet Clark works with Vic at Julius Aylston High.
Yeah. Immediately as you are getting snippets of information from these journals, that name immediately strikes you.
I will say that Ruth sends the list of names to Vic in full, and just sends that proper punctuation and all, saying might be people you want to look into. And then Janet Clark is right there.
Yeah. And Vic responds quickly. I already know one of these people. We can start there.
Ruth rolls his eyes off screen.
So sorry. The if we're all meeting in that bar, I have a detail to add, if that's okay. So since this is a bar that they went to with Euphony, when this group kind of reconvenes there, Vic orders their own drink and then orders whatever drink Euphony would get at this bar and leaves it at the empty 5th space while the other 4 of them kind of do their business.
Oh god. This bar has a drink that they made for Euphony. There is like God, it's called the stained glass, and it's like um a Long Island iced tea with extra steps, and it's like unnecessarily beautiful and shimmery. Like they literally add like um uh edible glitter to the drink and everything like that. It's an unnecessarily flashy drink and also very very strong. Um
Do you have a
and
Do you have a name for this bar that we went to?
um what's the best name that I can think of for a queer friendly bar in a queer unfriendly neighborhood? Um
A big fig.
oh I
It's
I
just
love that. I love that. Out of nowhere. Of course it's called that. And of course everybody knows what that means and no one says anything or questions anyone. Um so yeah. You order your drink and the waiter goes and something for Euphony as well before you even say anything. Um and is um back with both drinks um like almost remarkably quickly. Um you notice very idly that this waiter is also very adept at moving through an entirely crowded dance floor full of people who are dancing very eagerly on him without ever dropping a spill of drink at all. And he gives you your drink and places Euphony's drink exactly in front of the part of the booth where they would usually sit. Um, Almost like uniquely center in that quadrant of the table. Um, and says, "Hope they enjoy it," and steps away.
Beautiful, thank you.
Um, and Kat. Either at this bar or later on, you still have one downtime action.
I do. Oh dear.
I do. Oh dear! Wow.
one more action means more time. Okay, I'll stop.
I think next time Dice works a shift on the door at Somnio, Kat's going to let the other girls go early during cleanup so that it's just the two of them, and she's going to ask him about the cards with the eyes.
Okay. Cool. Uh.
We are
So,
investigating a great many things today.
um. You know what? Yeah. Give me a.
Please let it be analyzed.
How many dots do you have in Express?
One! I do have one!
Okay. Give me an Express. Give me an Express
Okay.
fortune roll. Just give me 1d6.
You know what? At least it's something I had a dot in. And that's a 6.
Wow, jeez, wow, jeez. So many sixes.
Yeah.
May this always happen in these games. Cool. Put that on the investigation track as well.
We have overfilled the track. Tier
This is
3 is
wild.
full.
This is wild. This is wild. So, you mentioned the cards to dice and he sighs a little bit and says, "Do you mind if I sit down?"
Go ahead.
Um, doesn't sit by a booth, just sits by like a table. And goes, to be honest with you, I don't know what those cards do, but they do something. Just like I at Monsieur the other night, when those two guys came in, they threw something, and I could have sworn it was a card that they threw. It acts the same way. I don't know what it does. It's so when they
Kat's finished wiping down the bar, and she pours 2 small little things of whiskey on the rocks and comes to sit down with him.
is one of those for him.
Mm-hmm.
Downs it in one go.
She has manners. Would have been funny, but
Like, doesn't even wait for you to actively offer it to him, takes it from you and just downs it in one go. So when I started doing this thing, they told me if I didn't know how to get to someone, I can make the way that I get to them. Didn't know what that meant for weeks and weeks, and then they started giving me all these names of people that I didn't know, people that I never met, giving me details about places and things that I didn't know anything about, knowing that I would get into those dreams. And then this one person that I started working with started like telling me that she knew I could focus the thing, but knew that I needed to figure out how. How to walk between dreams is what she said. So she told me that there are these conduits that they use. And he reaches into the front pocket of his shirt and pulls out 2 parts of a torn card. You can tell just looking at the color of the card itself, just at the texture of the card itself, that it was one of those eye cards. And he continues. So she said that this opens doors to dreams, and I didn't know what it meant. Everything was working, so I just started doing the thing, right? So she said that whenever I needed to find someone in the dreamscape and I didn't know anything about them other than where they were, all I needed to do was make sure that they had one. And that was easy enough for me. I get in fights. All I need to do is hit somebody and leave it on them. They're already asleep, right? I say all of this like I still think that it's cool. He pauses for a bit to settle in the thought of that statement before he continues. The cards do something else. I don't know what, but one of the things that they do is they open doorways into the dreamscape specifically for people who do not know how. That when you give it to someone who is ignorant, someone who knows can always locate them in the dream. It doesn't work the other way around. Once somebody knows, I think it just kind of fritzes out or something. I think I don't know. All I know is it's just a funky piece of card and glass. It drops it on the table. Um, you notice as he does so that inside the card is actually like what looks like dust, and as you look at it more closely, it looks like the dust of glass or crystal, um, which is what makes the card. Which just kind of dawns on you that that's probably what makes the card look and feel so thick. That it's just like this layer of glass dust inside it. Um, and he's like, I, other than that, the specifics, I'm not sure. I was doing what they told me and it was working. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you more than that.
You know what you could do for me that would be super helpful?
Yeah, what?
She picks up the card and waves it at him and says, "Find out where they make these."
Um, that might be tricky. We're not supposed to know, I think. I can
I
see
think
what I
I've
can
learned
do.
something about you in the last week, and that you are tremendously good at doing things you're not supposed to. So I think I'd like to make that work for us for now.
Okay. It's gonna take some time, I guess. As we have all already discovered, they already don't think they can trust me anymore. But I'm sure I can still pull some strings before they figure out. I'll see what I can find out, but
You're a smooth talker. I have faith in you.
what I've discovered over the past week is that I am smoother with my fists than with my gift of gab. But I'll accept that. I'll see what I can do. Um,
Thank you. The whole team will appreciate it.
No, we won't!
while Ruth is sneezing somewhere else in Cloud Harbor, um, Dice says, "Can you just do me a favor though? If I do find anything out, don't let Ruth know that you got it from me."
I'll keep it in mind.
In mind. Okay, cool. In mind. See? Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, I guess since work's done for the evening, I should probably head out.
Be safe going home. Don't get yourself mugged.
Okay. And as he heads out, very quickly and idly. In fact, no. Before I get to this point, I should qualify. My math is still good, right? No one has any downtime actions left, I think.
We're clear.
We all just cleared them. Yep.
Cool. Right. So, um, so Dice says, "Okay, I guess I'll head out then." Reaches into his pockets to check for something. Goes, "Oh right. I left my bag inside. I'm gonna go in the back and get it." Goes into the lounge to get his fanny pack because that's where he keeps all of his vital stuff when he's working. At just as he steps inside, uh, Siobhan shows up. Siobhan didn't have any work. Didn't have a shift this evening. Was just passing through. Says, "Hi, Charlotte. I'm sorry I didn't. I know I'm not supposed to be here. I just wanted to. I think I left something in the lounge. I'm just gonna go in the back and get it. I just head back on my way. I just realized I may have left this behind. I'm sorry." Just kind of skips ahead of you, kind of meekly on the way to the lounge. Um, you continue closing up, neatening up, getting ready to wrap up. Um, you notice Dice very briskly walking out. Doesn't say goodnight, doesn't say he's leaving, just kind of brushes past you. Meanwhile, Siobhan steps back out, goes, found it, holds up, like an iPhone 8 or something like that. Continues, on her way, says goodnight, tells you that, she'll be, in early for, her next shift. And the camera pans out of Somnio and follows the street alongside, the bar as, Dice Calendrin has now taken off in a full sprint down this street, is rushing several blocks, looking behind him the entire time. Siobhan is just continuing to walk, continuing down, the street very slowly behind him. And then Dice decides, you know what? I actually need to lose her. I'm gonna turn this corner. He turns left. Just uh, this sharp turn left, towards, the waterfront, and the camera turns towards that alley. There's nothing there. No garbage, no, like, trash cans, no stray cats or dogs, no Dice Calendrin. Nothing is in this alley. And Siobhan just continues walking past it, and slowly leaves the bottom half of the torn card that, he had with him when he was inside at the corner of the alley, and continues walking on her way. And as it now continues to be night, you all in your homes, all either getting ready for bed or, in some cases perhaps even avoiding as much as possible the urge to be driven into sleep. All of you notice this strong green glow coming from the nearest piece of glass in your home. You have no idea what that's about. It's not very often that someone that is not another dream knight has given you a signal in a piece of glass that a dream thing is happening. But each of you notice it and go, that's kind of fucking weird. But before any of you can even respond, all of the lights in all of your homes suddenly dim. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire.
Brandon,
So, yeah.
that was not enough of a cliffhanger. I need more of a cliffhanger. I put some
Oh
cliffhanger on your
God.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of things just happen all at once. This conspiracy hates you, remember? But yes, you have all learned some things. Some of you learned more things than others. And we're gonna get into what some of those things you have learned are at a later point as you enter into the mission stage of this episode in our next session. But until then, I would like to know how you all felt about this session. A lot of things have happened. Um, what are all of your feelings at this point in time?
Scream emoji.
Oh my god.
Agreed.
I'm really unhappy in like the this is great way because I get the feeling we have to save him at some point.
He's a dice damsel in distress.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, I just love every aspect of how Cat interacts with dice. It just makes me very happy inside.
I love how each of you have like your own unique interactions with dice, and I want to give you all opportunities to like have that with as many other people as possible, where um even when you all have the same goals, you all encounter those goals in vastly different ways. So yeah. Also, card things. That deck is continually getting weird, and I adore it a great deal. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited for our next session. But until we get to the point where our next session finally happens, I would like to ask all of you to please let all of the lovely people in chat know who you are, what you do, and where folks can find more of you. Um, Starting with Mike.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike. I publish as Michael R. Underwood. My book, Ecomancy, is coming back out in paperback and ebook this Tuesday. Hooray! So I'm excited about that. I am planning to go to Origins, where Arv and I will be meeting people and selling books and remembering that the world exists, which is strange. You could find me on Twitter at Mike R. Underwood. I stream at twitch.tv/turbotango. And on June 17th, at about 8 p.m. Eastern, you can join us here at twitch.tv/ArvinElleron for the world building episode of our Court of Blades game that Brandon is going to be in. I'm very excited, and I can't wait to do that thing. So that's me.
Same. I'm also very hype. Also, if you meet Mike at Origins, you are obligated to buy all of the books that you see. Because buying those books also supports us at Speculate. Because we need to live in order to continue making more Speculate content. But yes, next, Valerie.
Hello, I remain Valerie Valdes. She, her pronouns. You can find me online on Twitter at Valerie Valdes, and you can buy my books in places, including Chilling Effect and Pride Perceptions. And you can pre-order Fault Tolerance, which Mike is holding up. Thank you, Mike. And you can also catch me on Twitch at The Kids Are Asleep, which is when I play video games. Fun things like Hades and Mass Effect 3, and also Horizon Zero Dawn right now.
Nice. Thank you very much. Next, Yoi.
Hello and very soon goodbye. Yoi Gawain Lin, he, they pronouns, game and fiction writer. You can find me on Twitter at This Is My Design. Design is spelled capital DASEIN. It is a philosophy and Hannibal pun. Do enjoy.
Nice. And last but not least, Iori.
Kusano Iori, Clarion West class of 2017. I'm one of them, they, thems. You can find me on Twitter at Iori Kusano, at kusanoiori.com, forthcoming publications, Apex and in Neon Hemlock. And don't forget, that is spelled I-O-R-I. There are no L's in my name.
One of these days we're gonna make a command for that. It's gonna be a lot. And as for me, I have been your humble GM, Brandon O'Brien, pronouns he, him, or they, them, uh, poet, science fiction writer, and game designer. You can get my poetry collection, Can You Sign My Tentacle, wherever you get your poetry collections, but preferably not Amazon, but somewhere in the internet. Also, I'm gonna have a poem coming up in an upcoming issue of Uncanny Magazine, and I have a lot of feelings about it. If you either like or don't like Hideo Kojima's video games, I think you will adore that poem. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But yes, you can find me online on most places at the Rising Tides, including Twitch, where I'm gonna start streaming again, I promise. And as always, I am also one of the co-hosts of Speculate. So if you pass through on the 17th for our Crown of Blades game, we're gonna have a lot of fun. It's GM'd by Mike Underwood, and I will be playing alongside Gregory A. Wilson, uh, Prima Mohammed, and Marie Bilodeau, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm very excited to do the thing, so please join us and support us when that happens as well. Um, but until all of those things happen, I am going to ask all of these lovely people to bid you all adieu. I would like to tell all of you in chat, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Thank you so very much for spending all of your lovely time with us as we engage in tonight's game of Girl by Moonlight Fractal Spire. Because we've had so many technical difficulties, I am very hesitant to continue taking up all of your time because it is very late. So I will tell you all at this point, thank you so very much for joining us. I hope that you have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend, and enjoy the rest of your week. And last but not least, sweet dreams. Bye, everybody.
And we're out. Brandon, you pulled that back together so well. We did the damn thing. Should we go back up real quick to say hi? All right, I can